everything. It's a pillar of health. It's endless, really. It's so good for our mental health. And for our bodies, we need to be strong as we age. I like to think of it, and for our bones, as something you do for yourself in a day that's going to benefit you that day. So it's going to make you feel good. It's going to help with your productivity. Yeah. And the grief thing, like for ages, I didn't let myself feel that grief because she's still here and I love her like more than anything. So I didn't feel like it should be grief because, some people have lost children and, I'm so lucky to have her. So how is it grief? But then you realize it is, and it's hard to explain why it is, but it is grief that you go through.
Th- Thank you for coming on, and it's so lovely to meet you, Kate. I've been totally
Me
stalking
too.
you on Instagram, so you've been a great inspiration, especially that peri to postmenopause
Oh,
market
thanks.
that you're looking at, which I'm right in the thick of.
Oh, good. Yeah. I was hoping to get a chance to listen to both your stories, but I haven't. Hannah, if you wanted to,
Yeah, sure.
Good idea, yeah.
So, Fungicide came from lived experience. I inherited a gene called Fragile X, which I didn't know that I carried until after I'd had my 3 babies. It normally manifests in boys. It's quite profound, where girls carry it and it comes out in boys. So I've got a beautiful son. He's now 17. Who has Fragile X. What that looks like for me is quite a profound intellectual disability, autistic type tendencies, sensory processing disorder. He's at a special needs school, and going through, and I'm condensing the story really quickly, but the past 17 years of what that looked like on all different levels, and now him, reaching adulthood, it just made me realize that nobody cares for the carer. And if we look at statistics, we know that predominantly 93% of caregiving is done by the mums, which is why I did a lot of due diligence, I did a lot of research, and thought there is such a gap in this space and something needs to be done. So we're trailblazing, and the whole
Amazing. I love it.
aim is to support mums raising children with additional needs and disabilities. Globally, there's 240 million of us globally,
Wow.
and there is nothing being done. So we've got people with lived experience who are willing to share their journeys online, but we're creating tools, education, having other people provide their lived stories too.
Amazing. I love it.
So that's in the nutshell. So we're linking arms, and the big vision is 1 million mums globally linking arms and being supported.
Oh, I love it so much. And it's great timing because I'm looking to expand what I'm doing in this space as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
How
does
does
that
that look
look
for you,
like for you?
Kate?
Well, it's just started in that I'm setting up a community for my daughter through her art. Um, and then the bigger vision is that more will come from that and it will become a safe space for families and mums. And I'm just not exactly 100% sure how it's going to look, but yeah, definitely exploring
That's
it.
amazing.
Today we have Kate Ivey with us, who is located in the rural South Island of beautiful New Zealand in the stunning mountains. And Kate is the founder of Kate Ivey Fitness, a fitness program online operating across Australia and New Zealand. She has a background in sports education, physical education, and she runs a post and peri-menopause program for women, which is just a small part of what she does, but very relevant to the stage of life that we're all in. So maybe that got me perking up my ears. But what we also love about Kate, where I have been binging her content on social media for quite a few months now and signed up to your fitness program, Kate. But the sad news is that I have had it sitting there and I haven't done a single workout yet. So, but
we can talk about that afterwards. I can
oh
give
my
you some
goodness.
tips.
Motivation, but it's an incredible program which I love. You've built it out really well. There are meal plans in there, multiple fitness programs for all types of fitness that we're looking at, and you're also able to, what I love about it, sorry to just do a quick plug at the beginning, but actually choose a different program for each day of the week, so you can pre-plan your workouts and mix it up. You do a bit of strength training, a bit of yoga. It's amazing. So sorry to dive in with a plug of your program there that I have looked at and haven't actually
fantastic.
started. But yeah, what you've built is amazing. But on top of that, you've been raising a family. You have 3 children, from what I understand, and a beautiful daughter with additional needs who would love to hear all about her and your story with her. So, Kate, I will let you just introduce yourself and pick up from there.
Yeah, well, hi, I think you've done a really good job, apart from that you haven't hit play on a workout yet, can it?
It's shocking. It's actually
But you've
so
done a really good job
embarrassing,
no, I love it. Yeah, you've done a great job at introducing. I guess one of the big things is living rurally is added it's extra complexities to our journey, and living on a farm and just, the extra demands of that. And yeah, I guess that's a big part of who I am as well.
Yeah, amazing. So you're running a farm with your husband and your business, and your daughter is schooling at home now as well.
This is what I love about the reality of our lives. And everybody that is listening to this understands that we are mothers, that we have real lives behind the scenes. Most of us are working mums, and there is this is relevant to the way that we live our lives. So please don't apologize. Life happens, and that's all okay. But I am very excited to hear about your journey.
Maybe you want to start with the journey with your daughter, and perhaps when she was diagnosed, how you dealt with that, also being rural and somewhat isolated. I mean, there's just so much to unpack in there.
So she was diagnosed just before she turned 3, and so she started having quite a few regressions. I think I knew for a while that there was something not quite right. So yes, there were regressions, but there were signs earlier as well. And I had kind of learnt what they were going to ask. I didn't purposely do this, but subconsciously I knew what they were going to check at the Plunkett things. So we're going to see if she could count to 10 and if she could do the alphabet and all that kind of stuff. So I taught that all to her, and she had that down packed. And so the Plunkett nurse was like, she's absolutely fine. She's hitting all the milestones. But really I just taught them to her, and she'd learned them.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just started getting less responsive. So she wasn't responding to her name like she used to. And she stopped talking as much. And she was going to be staying with my mum while we were at a wedding, and I said that I'd had these concerns, and mum said, I will have a think about and have a watch of her, and take things on board while I'm with her and let you know my honest opinion. And she said, no, I think there is something going on. There's something not quite right. Things aren't where they were. They're not progressing like they should be. So I Googled language regression and all these kind of things, and autism came up, and all these different things that it said just completely aligned with where Olivia was at. And then it was a bit like, yes, she has it. No, she doesn't. Yes, she has it. No, she doesn't. Like, you go on this big spiral. And then obviously we got diagnosed, and they can't tell you anything, just that she has autism, and, questions like, will she read? Will she ride a bike? And they just, I don't know, and you're basically given, this was back it's 14 years ago, given a few pamphlets and off you go. We did have someone come out to us, I can't remember what company they were from, and did some education on autism. But then once that was done, you're just sort of on your own. And I think that's something that's quite challenging about this, is there are education plans and programs for most neurotypical people, but what do you do when they're not neurotypical? You're just left to basically navigate the unknown and work it out for yourself. And I hope in years to come there's going to be actual education programs for people in their particular disabilities, because
absolutely.
This goes off on tangents, doesn't it?
No.
But, that was a big thing. It's just like, what do we do now?
Well, can I ask a question in that, Kate? Going back, because obviously you saw regression, and then you had this diagnosis almost sprung on you by the sounds of things. What were your feelings in that time frame? Like, all of a sudden you're now navigating a label, a diagnosis, and a shift in life for you and your daughter and your family.
Yeah. Oh, that's every emotion under the sun. And here I am, 14 years later, and I think I'm only still just coming to terms with it all. Like it's a huge thing that is, I think really hard to put into words. I was very I didn't deal with a lot of it to begin with. For a long time, I just wanted to create the best life for Olivia as possible. And I think the first little while was quite a lot of rejection towards that, in terms of, you go through the stages, oh no, my child's going to be different. My child's going to be able to do these things. Yes, this is what is typical of someone with autism, but no, we're going to work really hard and she's going to be different,
Yeah.
And you just go through everything, and even in one day you do. You have these moments where you're just so positive about the future, and we're going to achieve everything that we can for Olivia. We're going to create the best life for her. And then you have moments where you're just like, feels like the depths of hell, where you're like, this is just so hard for all of us. It's not fair. What does the future hold? I can't do this. Yeah. And you just have to keep picking yourself up and riding the roller coaster, I guess.
So
Absolutely.
you talked about perhaps not acknowledging it, or that sort of natural wanting to escape from the reality of the situation some days. What did that look like for you on the days that you wanted to, or did try to kind of escape from the reality?
I guess you couldn't during the day, but it's more at night, maybe, when your thoughts before going to sleep, and maybe moments where you are in a public situation, and like it's something like a music class, and you're looking around and all the kids are doing what they're meant to be doing and your child isn't, and it feels lonely and isolating and desperate, like painful, grief-ridden.
You're right, and I think you nailed
Yeah.
you nailed it when you said there's grief associated with that. And I think that there are such different seasons, and we've discussed this before, that our children go through different seasons of growth. And then every season there's a highlight that they're not quite making the mark like the other kids around them, or they're not hitting those milestones. And the reality of that can be very confronting.
Yeah. And the grief thing, for ages, I didn't let myself feel that grief because she's still here and I love her like more than anything. So I didn't feel like it should be grief because, some people have lost children and, I'm so lucky to have her. So how is it grief? But then you realize it is, and it's hard to explain why it is, but it is grief that you go through. And I know when I have conversations with people who have lost children, I have this feeling that I can't explain, where our energies are combined. It's like it's someone else who gets it, even though it's completely different. And I don't begin to imagine how that feels to lose a child. There is some alignment there that potentially it's just that your motherhood journey looks a little different to what others are experiencing. Well, not what most it feels like are experiencing. Does that make sense?
It does.
Do you
completely.
think, Kate, that maybe that grief, and then on top of grief, you have the guilt of feeling grief, and I have felt that, and probably Hannah is the same.
Yeah.
You have guilt for feeling grief because you're comparing yourself to other people's situation, saying it's not as bad as that. I still have her, and I get that completely.
Yeah.
And do you think that part of that grief is just the shattered expectations of what you thought her life would be like? Is that part of where that grief comes from, do you think? Or is it more the grief of your family dynamics?
I don't 100%. No, it's not that. I don't 100% know what it is. I think it's fear as well of what their life is going to be, and that society has expectations on how life should be, and that your child's not going to have that life. It's like almost like something's been ripped away from your child or something.
Yeah.
But then you go through these these periods, and I'm in a completely different place with it now. But during this time that we're talking about in those first few years where it's so up and down, you also have these moments of like gratitude where you're like, do you know what? This so-called societal norms isn't a be all and end all. Like, she's never going to have to be a mother and have all the stresses, like
Absolutely.
there is, and some of the challenges that we go through as adults, she isn't necessarily going to have all of those. So there are some real positives as well in that when you think about it like that. Like, who says
Absolutely.
the neurotypical, or it's not always neurotypical, but the societal normal way of living is the best. So yeah, that's one way that's helped me in the past through it too, is that, yeah.
I look at that with
beautiful.
my son who's got an intellectual disability, and I'm like, as long as he's fed, he's got a drink, he's got football, and he's got love around him with his
Yeah.
guitar that he, plays, he's happy. And I'm like, your life is so simple, and he's
Yeah.
always so happy.
Yeah.
It's actually what every
complexities
bloke
that we
wants is
live
to live
in.
that life, and he lives it.
Football, drinks,
Yeah.
food, music, and a lot of love. Like, I'm like,
But
mate, your life is
like-
good.
Yeah, I
So
love
I
that.
hear
But I
what you're
guess it
saying.
has taken us till now for her to really be happy.
Mm.
So we haven't had that. And so when your child isn't happy and they're constantly stressed and life feels really tough, it is really hard. But I'm with you. I'm like you now. It's all just about happiness and fulfillment for her and how that looks. And, even to the extent it's like, right, okay, so when they're a teenager, we need to work on their life skills. At the end of the day, someone can cook her meals or she can heat up pre-made meals, but no one else can provide that happiness for her. That needs to be, other people can support that, but at the end of the day, that's not something you can pay someone to do or whatever. That really does, and we talk about that with all our kids, where happiness is the most important thing. But I think with a child with special needs, it's even more important, and everything we do, and it's taken me this long to realize that everything we do needs to be based around that.
It was one of those decisions for you taking her out of mainstream school and homeschooling her. Was that based around that philosophy towards her happiness?
No, it is now. But at the time, we had no choice. It was she wasn't going to be able to stay at school. The school weren't coping. She wasn't coping.
What did
wasn't
that
coping.
look like, like on a practical level?
She was getting, like, how was she responding, you mean?
Yeah, what did school look like her before you're like, she can't do this, we can't do this, the Department of Education can't do this?
Well, she was just so stressed and like getting physical, like her whole body was hunched. She was just completely wired, just not, and I should have pulled her out earlier, much earlier. The first few years of school were great, not perfect. There were some really challenging times, but primary school was a lot easier. Then as soon as she got into sort of middle school and beyond, the kids weren't as supportive. She noticed her differences more. Everything just got more stressful. I think hormones as well. And yeah, if I had my time again, I would have done it sooner. But in the moment, your whole life is designed around the kids being at school. So I couldn't see a possible way. Like, it wasn't even in my mind, it wasn't even really an option. Because how would that work? Couldn't possibly work until we were forced for it to have to work. And it's definitely not perfect. It's ideally, we hardly have any support. We've got a bit more now, but there's not many people around to work with her, and she was so stressed and she basically couldn't go out in public for a year. So it just sort of became that way, and we've had to sort of navigate going forward how that looks. And yeah, her happiness is key to that. Yeah. But it can take a while to find that, because when hobbies are restricted, there's no one to connect with. Like, how do you find happiness when there's nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about for you, Kate? what I'm hearing is that you've had to pull back from social occasions. You've had to have your daughter out of school, so you're missing connection there. Obviously, you're having to be at home with her a lot more, as well as running a business. So it's a huge juggle for you. Are you quite a social
Yeah.
person? Do you feel like that's isolated you further, or are you at a stage of
Um,
life where that's not such an issue now?
yeah, well, the first year, which was 2024, I retracted a lot socially, and I sort of explained it to someone recently where I wasn't miserable. I wasn't happy. I was just in a holding pattern, and I was fine with that. And it kind of was, yeah, I just kind of knew we had to do that. And I am a social person. My husband and I juggle things. I still have a good social. My parents help. Mark's parents help. So I'm at a wedding next weekend, and the weekend after that we're off to a 40th. So I don't want anyone to be under an illusion that I don't have a good life. I very much do have a good life, and Olivia is very much part of that now. But yeah, we just had a
Mm.
year of being in a holding pattern, and yeah, it was probably potentially the lowest we've been the whole time. But I was 10 years into the journey, so it didn't feel like it was lowest, if that makes sense.
Was that on a
Yeah.
reflection looking back at that year, or was that when you were in that holding pattern in that season, you knew that it was
Yeah.
a hard year for you
I did
guys?
know I couldn't connect properly with people when I spoke to them on the phone. I mean, I was getting interrupted a lot. It was all very chaotic, but I think I did know at the time that things were pretty crap. But yeah, I was able to just do what you have to do. It's amazing what you can do for yourself and for your kids when you have
Absolutely.
to. Yeah.
Yes, when there's no plan B, and that's the thing when we've got
Yeah.
motherhood and we've got choices that are very limited and resources and support mechanisms that are
Yeah.
either non-existent or again limited. I'm really interested to explore you beginning your business and how that looked for you. I've been in the same boat where, for me, one of the reasons I needed to start a business was because I found that the working environment, so employers or workplaces, weren't geared up for mothers raising kids with disabilities.
Yeah.
We have to show up to therapy sessions. We After school care for me was not that was just wasn't even a consideration.
Mm.
I would not do it. Talk to me about, obviously you're very successful, but the beginning of that and then the cross pollination between family, business. I can see that
Yeah.
you've traveled like around Australia, outback, rural. Talk to me about that journey.
Yeah, so I always wanted to have my own business. So I think it's the same reasons as you for doing your own business, but slightly different in that it was our location. So I couldn't, uh, we don't have any after school care where we live. We live in a small community. There's not many options, and I needed something that I could juggle around the kids. So that's why I started the business. And also I think it's been respite for me as well. It's something that um is mine. It's given me a lot of financial freedom. It's given me a lot of opportunities. It's given me things to focus on outside of motherhood and outside of being a mother to a child with additional needs. Um, Maybe I didn't realize quite at the time, but it was also a bit of a something to keep me busy, so I didn't have to deal with the emotions, so I didn't have to deal with everything. And interestingly, I think all mothers can relate to this. You feel guilty um, for your work, and your work becomes your me time,
Mm.
which is gets quite exhausting after a while, but I just love my job so much and it fulfills me so much. I'm still just as excited about it today as I was the day I started. So it's definitely been, um, I guess it's been a lifeline for me during these challenges. It's kept structure. It's the community so supportive that I've created as well. Um, yeah, but the juggle is definitely the hardest part of the business. You know, having to fit it in between dropping the kids off and picking them up from school, and then all of a sudden one is at home. It's amazing what you get used to though. But yeah, I would say the juggle is by far the hardest part of it all. But yeah, I can't imagine my life without it.
I love that. So what on a practical level, because we've got mums here and they've written into us and they've asked us, how do I start a business from home, or how do I start that side hustle, inverted commas?
Yeah.
What kind of tips would you, on a practical note, could you give to a mum who wants to explore business
Yeah.
and has a passion for something and then taking the steps towards it?
So first of all, I talk to a lot of women about getting out of the side hustle mentality. If it's
Good.
a side
I
hustle or
love
it's
that you
a
said that.
hobby, yeah, then that's always what it's going to be. There are some examples of people who it was a side hustle and it just blew up, but mostly you have to back yourself and you have to think big. And the way to get there is by just getting started on the littlest things. Maybe it's deciding kind of what area you're going to do it in, and then it's coming up with a name. It's just like breaking it down. It's like exercise. You break it down into those small achievable steps and you just do each thing. And before you know it, you have a business. So mine has evolved so much over the last 9 or 10 years. There's no way I could have just gone straight into setting up what I have now. It takes time. So you
And
do just get
you grow
started.
with it, don't you? And you
Yes, you
become
learn so
skilled
much.
and you've got all the different hats. And you've obviously brought on team members in that time. And I know we're deviating a little bit just quickly, a little rabbit hole,
Yeah.
because you've got trainers and nutritionalists on board. What did that look like from an expansion point of view for you, but also while juggling home? Like how did
Yeah.
that all work for you?
Well, initially, I thought, "Look, awesome." So the first thing I did was hire someone to support me, and then I had a new trainer come on board. And when I got a new trainer, I was like, "This is fabulous. She's amazing, and she's still on the team today. Anna, she's awesome." And I was like, "Let's get more and more and more." Um, and we did too much too soon. And Anna led me into this false sense of security that everyone got exactly my vision, but not everyone does. And I underestimated how challenging it would be actually having staff. And I have incredible staff. Like there hasn't been a single person who hasn't been great. Um, but they require work and they require systems, and you don't have those systems in place until you learn that you need those systems in place. So initially it was probably pretty full on and more work and added to the stress and just all the learning. I'd never had staff before. Um, so yeah, it's another example of just doing it, scrambling. A quote someone said to me once was, "It's like business and bringing people on the team and everything that's involved in that is like learning to fly a plane while you're actually flying it."
Yeah. Hoping that the landing gear comes down so
Yeah,
you make a safe arrival. In fact, for our mums listening, there's a great resource by a gentleman called Patrick Lencioni, and he talks about, it's called The Advantage, the book that he wrote, and he talks about exactly what you just said, that having healthy infrastructure inside of your organization is the advantage to your competitors, because 9 times out of 10, a lot of people are scrambling internally with broken systems and weak infrastructure. And when you have those systems in place and you're managing people well, then all of a sudden you've got that cutting edge. I'm really mindful of your time too, but with one last question. If you, and again, we've got mums listening to this on different parts of their journey. If you could give your younger version, so if you've been on this journey, let's say if you speak to you 10 years ago,
yeah.
what advice would you give yourself so she can then take that advice away?
Yeah, it's a hard one because you learn as you go. So, I mean, we haven't really touched on where I'm at now, but where I'm at now is just I have this immense sense of gratitude and just so blessed and feel so lucky to have Olivia. And I've always had that, always felt so lucky. But now it is completely encompasses me, and it's so much more powerful than any of the stress or the challenges that come with it. And I just feel like where I am now is exactly where I'm meant to be. But I've had to do a lot of soul searching, a lot of therapy, a lot of mindset work to get to that point. So I guess some advice would be to seek some help, to seek some support. The only thing is, when I look back 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been ready for that. I wouldn't have accepted it. I think then it's probably trust your gut, do your best now, know that you'll get through it, know that each learning is going to improve things, and those lows that you have, you will come out the other side. Everything changes, nothing stays the same, so you will get through it. But when you are ready, get some therapy, get some mindset work. I've even done I'm getting into like spirituality even, because I just feel like there's still more, there's more peace that I can have, there's more of myself that I can offer Olivia. I'm not exactly I nearly am in the right mental space that I need to be in to be the best I can be, but I think we can continuously work on ourselves. So yeah, and I guess the other thing I better say is exercise as well is an incredible tool that has helped me through this journey, my community, but also 20-minute workouts that sometimes you think you don't have the time, but they just realign your thoughts. They show you that you can achieve anything. They make your to-do list not seem so overwhelming. They give you a sense of control. It is time for you. It is time to look after yourself. So yeah, that's.
I think that you touched on that is so important. You've planted hope. I love the idea of spirituality. Can I just pick your brain on that one before
Yeah,
and then
so it's a very
exercise?
new
What's that
one for
looking
me.
like for you?
It's
Yeah.
a very new one, and I've got friends that give me shit for it.
It's okay. We
It's
support
a very
it.
new one, but it just kind of landed on my lap. And I'm very open to things, and I'm very I know that there is more I can do, more I can achieve. I could feel that things with Olivia still weren't where they should be. And so I've explored this, and it has helped so much, and
I
that's
love
how I've
that.
got this deep sense of gratitude towards her. It's and if I'd heard this even a year ago, I would have gone, what the hell? But anyway, I was taken back to a past life where Olivia was my mother, and um I needed help, I needed support, I needed community around me, and she provided that for me. And through this meditation, I was taken back to when Olivia was my mother and she died. And I was just like crying so much. And I promised to her that if I ever got the opportunity to do what she'd done for me, that I would do that for her. So that's where
Wow.
this comes from, where I just feel so thankful to her for what she's done for me, and so lucky that I get to do this for her. So it's pretty out there, but even if you don't believe in it, it has helped. So
Absolutely. I can
it
see
doesn't
it
matter
in
what
your
helps,
face.
does it?
No,
Yeah.
I can see it in your face. And was that something uh like how did you discover this? Like what was the discovery for you?
So I have a friend who works with energetics and souls and things like that, and her friend who she's in business with does all this stuff where you go back into past lives and you plan businesses and all sorts of things around it. And I was watching a video that my friend was in, and then I bumped into my friend the next day in a mall. So I live out in the country, but I happen to be in the city. I bumped into her in the mall. Both of us had goosebumps seeing each other. And I said, and I brought up the past life stuff because I knew she did it, and all this healing, and it's like your inner child healing and stuff like that. And I said, oh, I really must do it. Like, I'm even just fascinated by it. Like, it'll be cool to know the information. Like, it's just, there's something about it that's
You're
just
curious.
interesting and curious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I must do it. And I felt like it was meant to be that I saw her. And then I saw her husband at another mall. I was more hopping with my youngest. And then I went and checked into the motel, and I picked up the key, and the key was 777.
Oh
And I
wow.
was like, well, that must mean something. Like, I didn't know anything about angel numbers. Like, I really am so new to the spiritual stuff, and I will never know the ins and outs completely. I don't think I'll just use of it what I need to get me where I want to be, but in terms of mentally and in my heart. And so I looked it up, and it said it means you're going on a spiritual journey and things are going to be aligned and all that type of thing. And then I sent it to my friend who I'd seen in the mall, and she sent me a photo back of her ring, and she had a ring called 777 that
Oh,
said say
what?
777. Yeah, so I was like, okay, this is meant to be. I need to follow this spiritual journey and see where it takes me. So that's what
Wow.
I mean by it fell on my lap. It just
It
kind of
did.
unfolded. Yeah.
It literally fell on your lap. And then
Yeah.
from now, so I can see when you're speaking, your whole face is changing and there's
Mm.
almost like a peace and an excitement towards what you're
Yeah, and
saying.
I
Thank
think
you. Thank
also
you for
because I
sharing that
love
part
sharing,
of you.
I love sharing what helps me with others, and that's sort of what my
Absolutely.
business is built on. And so whenever I feel, um, whenever something's helped me, I do have an overwhelming feeling that I need to share it with others because it might help them too.
Thank you for the gift of your vulnerability in that. Like, honestly, because I can see that took a brave step, and you
Yeah,
sharing that part of you is a gift. On a very practical note, from an exercise point of view, and that was the third sort of pillar that you spoke of, can you, for those who hate exercise, but those
yeah.
who know that they need to implement movement into their life, what does exercise do for the body and for the mind?
Everything. It's a pillar of health. It's endless, really. It's so good for our mental health. And for our bodies, we need to be strong as we age. I like to think of it, and for our bones, as something you do for yourself in a day that's going to benefit you that day. So it's going to make you feel good. It's going to help with your productivity. It's going to give you those endorphins, those feel good endorphins. So it's going to help you that day that you do it.
Yeah.
And then that day that you do it, it's going to help you in a few weeks because you're going to be overall, your life's going to be more positive. You're going to be feeling more confident. You are going to have more energy just in general. And then it's going to help you in the long term. You're going to be stronger. You're going to age well. Your bones are going to be strong. So it's just, I think people really do underestimate how important it is for us. And it's been associated with just weight loss, and people think, oh, exercise is just
Yeah.
something we do if we want to lose weight, or it's just something you do if you are into fitness, when actually it is so important for all of us. So if we can think about those benefits for today, in a couple of weeks, and long term, it can really
Absolutely.
help you to prioritize it within your day. And it needs to be a priority, otherwise it's just not going to happen.
Being a carrier of Fragile X, I actually went through menopause really quickly. So I'm posting on HRT. But part of that journey was they did a bone scan on me, a bone density scan, and they said I'm one category away from osteoporosis.
Wow.
And this was just last year, and I thought to myself, I love the gym. Like, exercise has always been my one thing.
Yeah.
Graham Cowan, who founded Are You OK? He's like, honey, you need to find your one thing.
Yeah.
And so that has always been for me. But the reason I say that is I'm taking active steps now, so my future self will thank me. But Kate, I know you've got
Yeah.
to jump for your daughter, but thank you. Thank you for the gift of your transparency, the gift of your authenticity and vulnerability. And we just really celebrate you, where you've come from, where you're going, and what you've done. So thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much for
sharing your
having me.
journey, Kate.
Yeah, it's quite therapeutic to share. And I think the last time I spoke about this topic was about 3 years ago, and I was just crying the entire time. And I hadn't had any therapy or mindset coaching then. So I think just the way I've been able to talk about this today, and how proud I am to sort of share the journey, just shows, I guess, how far I've sort of come over the last few years, and how important it is to get the help and support that you need.
That is so good. We're actually going to
Absolutely.
also with this podcast is put out where people can reach out to you and stay connected with you on socials. And we just want to encourage anybody that's listening today that if this has resonated with you, or you know somebody that's going to benefit from what Kate has shared with us today, please share it. Please send the link. Women raising children with additional needs or disability carry an invisible load, and it's heavy. So our focus here is linking arms and supporting each other on this journey. So thanks again, Kate. Ness, lovely seeing your beautiful face come back onto the screen.
Can I share one more thing quickly?
Yes, of course you can.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, I've just started the business, a new little business that's Olivia's business, and it's called Hi Olivia Online. At the moment, it's on Instagram. I'm not ready to share it on Facebook yet because that feels like the big wide world too much. And it's going to be about creating a community for Olivia through her art. It does something, she will sit down and she will do her art for like 45 minutes, but anything else she, won't stay focused on. And so I'm using that to build her education around, and so I'm going to turn like some of her art into some prints and cards and stuff like that she'll be involved in the whole process. And like, for example, a couple of days ago we went to town and we went to an art shop, and I just let her choose things, and she interacted with the shopkeepers, and it was all just a really, really nice experience. So I'm using something that she loves to create a community and education for her. So if you want to follow that, that'd be
absolutely
cool as well.
We will drop a link to that
too.
page down in our show notes so that anyone who wants to be a part of that community can absolutely follow Olivia's journey there. And I love that you've found something that's her love, and the fact that she's opened up going to an art shop is just fantastic.
Yeah, because that is one of the big things sorry, I'm going on, but so passionate,
So good.
is when your child doesn't have something that they love, that's a passion, that fulfills them. And for so long we didn't have that. So yeah, it's very exciting.
And it's very pretty. Did she come up with the Olivia, like with the different colours?
Yeah, she wrote her name.
Oh, wow.
And then I turned that into a logo, but it's quite
logo. That's what I was looking
it's
for.
kind of it's her writing, and I put the colours on, but I'm wondering if it's a bit babyish. I might get a few more colours and get her to choose, like do 3 options and get her to choose which one she likes better.
So it was so beautiful.
Have fun with
yeah.
Oh, amazing. So
yeah,
just such a privilege having you connect with us today and hearing your story. Thank you so much. I'm sure our community are going to really connect with you and your story, and you'll be hearing from them. And you can follow Kate on Instagram at Kate Ivey Fitness. That's IVEY. And of course, she has a website with her fitness business, and that is right.
Yeah, for our Aussies
Kate
as well.
Ivey Fitness, kateiveyfitness.com, and you can find out what Kate does there and follow her online and be a part of her programs as well. Thank you, Kate.
Thanks, guys.